Wellness Wednesday is a sacred space where faith and emotional wellness come together. Now, in its second year, this powerful initiative is proudly presented by the First Church of the Open Bible in collaboration with Acropolis New Creations Caribbean Limited, also known as New Creations Caribbean. We are trusted counselors who walk with you toward healing and wholeness. Wellness Wednesday was created because we believe in healing the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. Our faith teaches us that mental and emotional struggles are real, but so is hope. And through this initiative, we want to give you a safe space to learn, reflect, and grow. So what is Wellness Wednesday? It's an hour-long monthly gathering held on the last Wednesday of each month at 6:30 p.m., where we explore real-life topics like anxiety, grief, stress, anger, and relationships through a faith-based lens. You can join us in person at the church or watch online from anywhere. We want this to be accessible, uplifting, and transformational for everyone. Whether you're just starting your healing journey or seeking a deeper level of understanding and peace. Each session includes compassionate teaching, practical tools, and time for quiet reflection. It's a safe, loving space to breathe, reset, and grow in community. Our sessions are led by the amazing team at New Creations Caribbean, clinically trained, culturally grounded, and deeply committed to walking with you. You'll meet mental health professionals who understand what it means to balance faith, family, identity, and emotional well-being. Our goal is to support your journey while honoring your story. Through each Wellness Wednesday session, you'll gain tools to reduce stress and anxiety, support for processing grief or trauma, guidance for building healthy boundaries, insights on managing emotions like anger, and wisdom on rest, relationships, and resilience. You'll also discover the power of faith-based self-care, because caring for yourself is not selfish, it's spiritual stewardship. If you would like additional support, know that you can connect with a counselor for private support at any time. New Creations Caribbean operates by the CREATE model. C for confidential, your privacy is always respected. R for reliable, you can count on us to be present and professional. E for ethical, we serve with integrity and transparency. A for attentive, you'll receive compassionate, personalized care. T for transforming, we walk with you as change unfolds. And E for empowering, our goal is to give you the tools to grow. This is more than counseling, it's a ministry of healing, and you are never alone on the journey. So how can you be a part of Wellness Wednesday, you ask? Just show up, that's it. Come as you are, open-hearted, curious, and ready to receive. So mark your calendar for the last Wednesday of every month and bring a friend or loved one who could benefit too. Whether you join us in person or online, you'll find a welcoming space full of grace, guidance, and growth. Because Wellness Wednesday is more than a program, it's a commitment to ourselves, to each other, to living fully and free. We're excited to walk this journey with you. Come, be seen, be heard, be whole. This is where healing begins and hope lives. We'll see you at the next Wellness Wednesday. Good evening, and welcome to this month's version of Wellness Wednesday. Why self-love matters. I'm Dr. Tenielle Richardson-Quamina, CEO and Clinical Director at Acropolis New Creations Caribbean Limited, also known as New Creations Caribbean, where we provide innovative solutions for your mental and behavior health. Tonight, we're talking about why self-love matters, not as a buzzword, but as a real life skill that affects how we cope, how we relate to others, and how we take care of ourselves over time. This isn't about being self centered or indulgent. It's about learning how to treat ourselves in a way that's sustainable. Many of us are very good at showing up for others. During this session, we're going to learn how to show up for ourselves in a healthy and balanced way as well. So, we have a few learning objectives during our self love session. Here's what I want you to walk away with tonight. By the end of our time together, you'll have a clearer understanding of what self love actually is from a psychological perspective, how to recognize when it's missing, and a few practical tools you can start using right away. Nothing tonight is about doing more or fixing yourself. It's about becoming more aware and more intentional. So, first, we want to understand self love. When we're talking about self love, we're really talking about three connected skills: self respect, self compassion, and self care. Self respect is about honoring your limits and your needs, ensuring that you treat yourself with dignity and prioritize your well being. Self compassion is about how you respond to yourself when things are hard. Sometimes we respond with criticism instead of kindness. So, tonight we're going to foster a more supportive inner dialogue that we could use during these challenging times. And last but not least, self care is about the behaviors that protect our well being. Self care encompasses actively protecting and enhancing your well being and allowing you the opportunity to recharge and rejuvenate your emotional and physical health. What self love is not. It's important that we clear up some common misunderstandings about self love. Self love is not narcissism, it's not avoiding responsibility, it's not putting yourself above everyone else. When we think about narcissism and that not being self love, we want to make sure that we focus on the fact that self love is not about excessive self focus or superiority. It's about genuine appreciation of oneself and respecting others' needs as well. Embracing self love encourages accountability, not avoiding responsibility. Helping individuals take ownership of their actions instead of escaping from responsibilities and commitments. So, when we take care of ourselves, it allows us to show up as a better version of ourselves, and we're better prepared to handle responsibilities and commitments instead of escaping or trying to escape from them. Selfishness. True self love does not prioritize our own needs at the expense of others. It fosters a healthier connection and a mutual support in our relationships. When people lack self love, we often overextend, burn out, or become resentful, not because we don't care, but because we've hit our limit and we don't have any resources left. The connection between self love and our nervous system. Practicing self love activates the calming response, reducing stress and anxiety while enhancing our emotional regulation through that kind talk that we talked about earlier and that self care. Now, when we talk about our nervous system, this is how the body and brain talks to each other to decide when to be alert, when to be calm, when we're going to be stressed, or when we're going to be at ease. When we practice self love, it allows us to respond in more of those calm or at ease, or not as stressed, or not as hypervigilant or anxiety presenting states. When we're constantly stressed, self critical, or pushing ourselves beyond our capacity, our bodies stay in survival mode. Practices like self talk, rest, and boundaries help activate that calming part of our nervous system. And this makes it easier for us to regulate our emotions. And when we can regulate, we think clearer and we respond rather than react. When self love is missing, it doesn't usually look dramatic. It looks like burnout, irritability, anxiety, or emotional exhaustion. When we think about burnout, that is usually caused from prolonged stress, and it leads to physical and emotional exhaustion. It diminishes our motivation to get things done. And even when we get things done, it decreases that sense of accomplishment in our daily tasks because we're just burnt out. In regards to irritability, a lack of self love can result in increased irritability, which makes it difficult to cope with everyday challenges. And it also causes straining in our relationships with others. And think about anxiety. Low self love often manifests as anxiety, creating that sense of overwhelm, sometimes self doubt, and sometimes we even worry about our capabilities in various situations. When we feel tired but wired, overwhelmed but still pushing, we may give a lot to others while feeling disconnected from ourselves. These are not character flaws, they're signs of depletion. So be mindful. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling irritable, if anxiety seems to be happening often, it might be a sign to check in to see if there might be some self love missing. So, what do? We know what self love is, we know how it can show up and what it looks like in our mental and our physical health. So, we're going to talk about things that we can do to remedy that challenge. The power of self talk in wellness. Our inner dialogue plays a powerful role in our mental health. Harsh self talk increases stress and emotional fatigue, whereas supportive self talk improves our resilience, our focus, and motivation. The way we speak to ourselves internally often determines how we recover from mistakes, stress, and disappointments. Boundaries, essential for mental well being. Boundaries are one of the most practical expressions of self love. They reduce resentment, protect our resources. And when I talk about resources, I want you to think about the four aspects of our mental and physical way we navigate life. We don't have unlimited resources. We don't have unlimited time. We don't have unlimited physical and mental resources. And we don't have unlimited finances. So when I talk about resources, those are the four aspects that I'm talking about. So, not having boundaries, like we said, make sure that we are good stewards of our resources. Saying no isn't about rejection, it's about capacity. When we don't set boundaries, we often end up overwhelmed, frustrated, even with the people we care deeply about. So, when we set boundaries, it really does allow us to have healthy relationships and better personal well being. It's okay to say no. No seems like a big word sometimes, but what I often remind everyone about is no for now. No may be something that you could change in the future, but for right now, if you're finding yourself having those limited resources that we talked about, boundaries may be very beneficial. And remember, no is a full sentence. We don't always have to explain why. Now, it might be some circumstances, let's say with employment or commitments, where you may have to explain, but just be mindful that no can, in most circumstances, be a full sentence. The importance of rest for wellness. Rest is not a reward. A lot of times we navigate life thinking, I can rest when I finish all the things that I need to do. But we have to remember rest is a biological and psychological need. It is essential for our well being. It helps support our mood, really helps support our memory and our decision making. When we're overextended, sometimes we struggle with making the best decisions. We forget things and we may not be in the best mood. So, prioritizing rest can help prevent that emotional overwhelm that we're talking about. Sleep and pauses support that rest for wellness. Without rest, we also have the challenge of trying to regulate our emotions. Rest allows us to show up our better self. So remember, rest is not a reward, it is a need. Make it a priority. Guided self compassion practice, responding with kindness. Let's take a brief moment for reflection. I invite you to think about one area where you tend to be hard on yourself, whether that's your career or the role that you play in your family, how you interact with others, how you did with those goals that we talked about in our last session at the beginning of the year. Think about some of those areas where you may be a little harder on yourself. Notice some of the language you use internally. What are you saying about yourself? Are you saying, I never get things right? I'm just not good at this. Now ask yourself, what would you say to a friend in this situation? Would you tell your friend, you're never good at that stuff? You never accomplish your goals. Would you say that to a friend? No. You would show up with more supportive suggestions. You would show up with kindness. So let's see if we can offer ourselves that same tone of understanding that we offer others. Remember how we said in the beginning? We show up well for others, but sometimes we don't do that great in showing up for ourselves. So, this is a little mind trick that we could use to help us be more compassionate with ourselves, that inner kindness. Because that self criticism can speak very loudly sometimes. So, talk to yourself like a friend. Practice self love strategies. Self love doesn't require big changes. Small, consistent actions is what matters most. Pausing before saying yes, scheduling brief resets during your day, replacing one critical thought, or asking for help are all meaningful practices. So when we think about pause, taking a moment to pause before responding helps cultivate awareness, allowing for more intentional and thoughtful choices in our daily interactions. Pausing before we say yes. It's one of the things I encourage a lot of clients to do when they're feeling overwhelmed. Before you say yes, have a pretty good understanding of what responsibilities, commitments, demands that you have right now. Can you say yes right now? Can you add another thing to your plate realistically right now? If not, this might be a really good opportunity to practice that no that we talked about on our previous slides. And again, remember, no does not always mean no for forever. Sometimes it makes it a little easier to say things like, no, I wouldn't be able to attend that event. I have a lot of things on my plate. But can you please keep me posted about future events that you have, maybe next month? I do look forward to making one of those. Just right now, I wouldn't be able to. So you see how that no didn't come off as harsh? Now, that was a no, that was not a full sentence. Just giving you some examples to make no a little easier when it can be a challenge for you sometimes. We want to schedule regular resets. Scheduling resets throughout the day encourages mental clarity, emotional rejuvenation, and it fosters overall well being and stress management. So, pause for a second again. Ask yourself, what would be a scheduled reset? Let's take it out of the realm of abstract. This is one of the things I teach a lot of my clients. Make it something that is concrete. So when you do need to schedule your reset, you already know what type of resets you have in your toolkit that you can access. So, for example, I'll put myself on the chopping block to uh, let you guys know what I do for my scheduled resets. I usually have about 10 to 15 minutes in between clients. I schedule my clients that way purposefully. So when I finish assisting and guiding and providing support to my clients in one of the sessions, afterwards, that 10, 15 minutes, I may go outside, may just do a quick walk down the sidewalk, take in some very deep breaths, look around to see what's going on. What wildlife do I see? What trees, plants? Is the sun shining? Are there clouds in the sky? What do I smell? Do I smell the fresh flowers that are in bloom? Or do I smell the scent of rain that may be coming? These are grounding exercises that we focus on our five senses, what we can hear, see, touch, smell, feel. So being mindful of those things. What are our grounding exercises? So what would you put in your scheduled resets? Would it be going to get a glass of water, checking in with a friend, listening to some music? Make a mental note of what that scheduled reset would be. So when the time comes, you can use them. And you don't have to try and think about it when you're already getting to a place where you may start to feel overwhelmed. It's hard for us to come up with those things in our toolkit when we're on the verge of being burnt out, irritable, or that anxiety is circling. So be proactive and figure out what your schedule reset would be. Replace thoughts. Actively replacing negative or critical thoughts with neutral or positive ones can significantly shift our emotional states and improve our self perception over time. So, some of those thoughts, I'm not great at this. I will never be able to finish that. Let's replace those with neutral thoughts. I'm still working on those skills that will help me get better at this particular task. Or if I keep working at this, just like I've done with things in the past, I know that I can get better at this. Practice makes progress. Notice I did not say perfect. Practice makes progress. And the reason I didn't say perfect is because we want to make sure that we are taking pauses to acknowledge and celebrate the smaller steps towards progress. We always don't want to wait to the end when we get things done and we've made those accomplishments. It's important when we think about self love to celebrate ourselves along the journey. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's awareness and intention. So, which one do you think you may use more? Pause, scheduled resets, or replacing your thoughts? More practical self love tools. This is a big one, even for myself. Ask for help. Asking for help sometimes puts us in a vulnerable position, but we have to recognize the need for support is vital. Allowing others to assist can lighten your emotional load and foster connections. So, if you're concerned about asking for help, always say follow the path of least resistance when it comes to this one. You think about your support system. Are there certain people in your life that are good at certain things, or they really enjoy helping in certain things? It may be easier to ask help from those individuals when you know that they're more likely to help and say yes. So think about, is there someone in the home that really enjoys washing dishes? Is there someone in the home that enjoys mopping? My little one yesterday got excited when I took out the mop. And she said, "Mommy, I want to help you mop." I didn't even think about asking her for help. I was tired. It was the end of the day. We had construction going on in the house and I needed to mop up the dust. But I remembered, put a little note in my head, okay, the little one likes to mop. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, irritable, all of those things, and it's mopping is something that I need to get done for the day. Now I remember I can ask for help from the little one because she enjoys mopping and she will gladly say yes. Sometimes it's hard for us to ask for help because we're taught that we're supposed to be able to handle and do all things. That's not sustainable. That is what leads us to burnout. So ask for help. We have to protect our rest. Prioritizing downtime is essential, again, for our emotional recovery and our resilience. Creating boundaries around rest can significantly enhance well being and focus. So, what does protecting our rest look like? Time blocking. It's one of the things I encourage everyone to do. I learned about this a couple of years ago, and it really has helped. We block out time for work, we block out time to cook, clean, show up for our family. We block out time to go grocery shopping or do other tasks that we need to get done in our life. When was the last time you blocked out time to rest? So, when you're putting your schedule together at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of the month, look for those opportunities to block out some time for rest. Sometimes it's beneficial to block out time when we know that we're going to have a really, really busy schedule for the first week in March. So let me block out some time to rest so I can rejuvenate my mental and physical resources so that that first week in March, I can show up my better self. And then maybe I block out some time after that first week because that first week really pulled on my resources and I need to rest after. So sometimes we have to book in the rest, block out some time before when we know we're going to be really busy, and then block out some time after. Sometimes we have to make sure that we're just really consistent. 15 minutes, an hour for the week. If it's on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon after church, block out that time, find that time. And one of the things that I've seen is when we start to do that for ourselves, it gives permission for other people to do it as well for themselves. So think about that. You're modeling how to practice self love for yourself and giving permission for others to start doing it as well. Sometimes we think if we block out that time, our kids or our spouses may react in a negative way. But you'll be surprised. I remember when I first started blocking out my time, I thought my kids would be, "Oh, mom, we didn't get a chance to spend time with you." But they know, all right, this is mom's quiet time. Okay, mom, see you in a few minutes. The reason I think that works is because our children and our spouses get to see the benefit of us protecting our rest. When we have that 15 minutes, when we have that time to just have quiet time and breathe and rest for a minute, we show up our better selves for them and they get to bear witness and benefit from that. So think about that as well. It is a benefit for yourself, of course, because of self love, but also it's a benefit for others. So when we do need to or want to show up for others, we're showing up our better self. And schedule breaks. Regularly incorporating brief pauses into your day can refresh your mind, improve your productivity, support emotional balance throughout your daily activities. So remember, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 seconds, it could be 2 minutes. Scheduling breaks does not always have to be this long, drawn out hours, days. Yes, it could be that, yes. But sometimes when we think that breaks have to be this long bulk of time, we get into this place where we start to think, I'm not going to be able to find time for that. So I just won't do it. So remember, 5 seconds, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Protect that time, prioritize that time, schedule it in your schedule, make it consistent. And when things get to be too much, ask for help. Embracing self love for emotional balance. When we practice self love, we often notice emotional steadiness. We're able to be more present with our loved ones, which leads to healthier relationships. When we're burnt out, it's hard to listen to what your kid's day was like. It's hard to stay present for that when we're exhausted. Caring for yourself supports the life you want to live, the way you want to show up for others. This isn't separate from our values, it supports them. So, practicing self love, it fosters us being able to show up for ourselves and others. I always remember that analogy when you fly and they're doing the safety announcement at the beginning of the flight. What does the flight attendant always say? Put your mask on first before you help others. So remember that. Taking care of ourselves is essential. Yes, we want to show up for others. And yes, sometimes we do better showing up for others than ourselves. But remember, put your mask on first. So there are some key takeaways that I want us to remember from this evening. Self-love is a learnable skill. We're usually not taught self-love because of that negative connotation that we talked about earlier in our previous slides. When we love ourselves, we'll show up as arrogant or narcissistic or self-centered. So we have the tendency to shy away from this. I just want to remind everyone that it is a learnable skill. It can be developed through practice and intention, and making it accessible to everyone willing to commit to personal growth and healing. So take away some of the things that we talked about today. What's some of the learning skills that you're going to put in your toolkit? Self-love improves regulation. It helps us to balance our response to others, our stress levels, how we interact with others, and remember our better self. When we can regulate better, we show up our better self. And prevent burnout. Integrating self-love strategies helps to mitigate feelings of overextension and exhaustion, leading to a more sustainable and fulfilling lifestyle. So when it comes to burnout, make sure you know what your signs of burnout are. For example, I know when I'm starting to be overwhelmed or burnt out, when the chair that I have in my bedroom starts to get full of clothes. That's my signal that I'm burnt out. When I haven't had the time to put up clothes, to organize, and to keep that chair cute with my decorative pillow. If my decorative pillow is not showing and all you see is a pile of clothes, I'm like, Tenielle, there's your burnout. Let's see what we need to put in place. Do we need to set some boundaries? Pause before we say yes. Is there something that I need to take off my plate and say no to? Do I need to schedule some brief resets and go outside and practice those grounding techniques and just be present? Do I need rest? So make sure you know what your sign of burnout is, because once we can recognize that, we can do something about it. Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining us this evening. As we close, I invite you to think about one thing you're taking away with you tonight. One insight, one practice, one gentle shift. I tell my clients, just 2 degrees of change. We don't have to always have these big changes, just 2 degrees. So that one gentle small shift that you could do this week. Caring for yourself is not something that you have to earn. It's something you not only need, but you are allowed to do. So if you or a loved one could use our assistance, We have amazing counselors at Acropolis New Creations Caribbean Limited. You can give us a call at 868 708 6565. You can visit us at our website at www.anccl.net or visit us in person. We're located at 101 Circular Road, San Fernando, Trinidad, West Indies. I appreciate everyone coming tonight to gain some learnable skills towards self-love. Everyone be blessed, take care, and we will see you same time, same place, 6:30 for our last Wednesday of the month for Wellness Wednesday. Thank you, everyone. Take care.